Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's recording of the recap, the PCL Season 11, with the Week 8 recap. And you see, like, Week 8, super empty because it's Sunday, it's midnight for me, but people didn't play the games yet. But because a few people reached out and said, hey, could you go into more depth about, hey, what moves should have been used, like, what different building ideas should there have been? I have decided to do that. And so it's not a big deal that there are less replays because I can go into more depth for each one. And I have two people here that will just fact check me. If I say something stupid, they will be like, nah, shut up. And correct me. And technically speaking, Omar said he will do that. So, first of all, hi, Omar.
Yep, what's going on?
And the second person, the Dons. The Dons themselves. Oh, I accidentally closed that recording. Okay, and as I said, like I will go into more depth because the replays are fewer. I can do that more easily. I also have my next week off, so if there are more replays, if you wish me to analyze any replays that are following after this, just reach out to me. I'm always down to do more different things, do other things, and you just reach out, whatever you want to talk about the recordings. I'm genuinely always available for anything. All right, and we start off with my own game this week because the Chaya vs Toronto Tyrants did not happen yet. And it's me versus Kaylen in a 4-0 victory, which I will say I was very confused. So if we look at the lineups now, I'm going to go into detail, meaning I also go into detail how I thought while building. And from my point of view, I saw this matchup. I saw Palafin, Annihilate, I saw Raikou. I was like, oh damn, this Tangrowth will be so big. But the more I looked at it, the worse it got. Because Annihilate can substitute on it and you can't break the sub. Raikou can substitute on it, you can't break the sub. Damanachen abuses it as a free switch in. You have Mega Gardevoir absolutely blasting you.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you able to share your screen?
I can share your screen with you too, yes. I can share my screen with you. Let's see.
I can see going into depth now with the match, but I don't see anything.
Yeah. It's you should see it now. So, from my point of view, the longer I looked at this matchup, the worse Tangrowth became. So I didn't even bring it at the end of the building phase. I knew Iron Valiant will be good. I knew Slowbro will be good. Slowbro allows in Raikou, but Raikou gets soft checked by Alola Muk until it's low enough to be revenge killed by Iron Valiant. Garchomp was really good in this matchup from my point of view because Scale Shot is just nice against his team. Because it's rather on the slow end. So this is what I thought about. It's like, it's so slow that the only one that outspeeds a Garchomp at +1 is a Choice Scarf Raikou, which I was sure he wouldn't bring. So I was almost certain that Garchomp was an offensive bring here because of the speed tier of his team. As you see, like it's really slow. I was expecting him to bring Palafin. I was expecting a substitute Annihilate. I was expecting a Mega Gardevoir to abuse my defensive core of like Slowbro, Tangrowth, and Golden Go gets hit by Shadow Ball. I expected Raikou to be brought with a substitute set. Expected Damanachen because my physical wall with Slowbro and Tangrowth both don't want to eat U-turns over and over and over again from it. And I expected a Cryogonal to come. And from my side, I brought, as you can see here, the Iron Valiant, which is setup set with Calm Mind, I think is what I've used this week. The Sword Dance, Scale Shot, Garchomp because of the speed tier. Oh, by the special Valiant, by the way, because Annihilate Bulk Up means if I'm physical and he gets a Bulk Up, his Rage Fist kills, while I can't Revenge Kill after hitting Annihilate with scored from Slowbro. So these are like the calcs I had in mind why I chose Special Valiant. Also, it helped versus Cobalion because Focus Blast kills Cobalion while Close Combat doesn't kill a physical defensive Cobalion. And I brought a Alola because there is a special side of things, like you have Mega Gardevoir, you have Raikou. I just wanted to check these. I've brought Slowbro, and this is where I can go a bit into the mistake I spotted early on in the match. It was with Cobalion. Because if you see, by the way, I'm on Smog Tours here, so you don't all see my like 500 teams I have for whatever tours. So he used a Cobalion with, I think it was Stealth Rocks, it was Volt Switch, it had HP Ice to not be set up for the... And from my point of view, this Cobalion, and I think he had a Flash Cannon or Iron Head or something for the Valiant, but I'm not 100% certain on this anymore. We will see in the replay. In my point of view, one of these things should have been Taunt. And the main reason is the Slowbro situation, because my Slowbro, every single game this season, was with Teleport and with Future Sight, which is a very nasty combo, right? You get hit by... So your Future Sight, you teleport out, you get the good matchup, the Future Sight prevents certain switch-ins. Like, if I Future Sight here, you know that Annihilate can't come in, you know that Palafin doesn't want to come in, Cobalion can't stay in, Flygon really doesn't want to eat it either. So the only mons are Cryogonal and Skuntank. So as long as I prevent those switch-ins, every Future Sight is gonna be insane value. And the why Cobalion should have had Taunt, I think, over whatever the last move was. It could have taunted my Slowbro on the turn I Future Sight, and then Volt Switch out and get the better turn, like the better momentum. Because now what happened was I got momentum in this situation over and over and over and over again, and that was a big part of why I was victorious in the end. And we will see this in the game play out a lot. Because this is the start matchup, right? If he's Taunt, he should always Taunt here. Future Sight, he Volt Switches. This deals a lot of damage, right? So I don't want to eat it over and over again. But you see, I can just teleport. Entei, by the way, this Entei is a nasty set because I saw his team is slow, so I ran with a substitute set to punish the switch-ins for... Here also, slight mistake. More accurate, because this Entei is Sacred Fire and it's Flame Charge. If I Flame Charged here, Sacred Fire would kill, and I would prevent the knocker from Skuntank connecting. So these tiny changes change out how the entire game is played. I think if I Flame Charge here, I have a better shot at winning the game afterwards with Entei by itself. Because nothing wants to eat the Flame Charge or the reversal of Terra fighting Entei. Here, by the way, I stayed in because if I Terra fighting and the non-transformed Palafin doesn't KO, and if he would have decided to Jet Punch, assuming it kills, then my reversal OHKOs this Palafin. Now it doesn't OHKO this Flygon, obviously, because I'm still out too much HP. He Terra steals, and this is a mistake. He should have kept Terra. I don't even know if he has a different one that can Terra in this Scott. But Terra doesn't help him at all. Because while the berry halves damage, you also take double damage because you just went to steal. So this it's the same damage as before. So it will kill. So slightly inaccurate play from both sides here. He should have Jet Punched here because there's no value in me swapping out in this position anymore. This Entei is too low to come in against Cryogonal. It's too low to come in against Cobalion. It's too weak to kill Annihilate, so it can only threaten the burn. So he should have Jet Punch finished me off because I would have died from that. But now I get the burn, which basically means this Palafin is useless. And with the burn, I survived the Jet Punch. The reversal puts him very low, and now Slowbro with Rocky Helmet, I think. No, I think it doesn't even have... Was it Rocky Helmet? Yeah, it's Rocky Helmet. But it didn't even need Rocky Helmet because the burn would always kill. Here I have my dedicated Cryogonal answer, by the way, Articuno, because special defense of Articuno is insane, and if he sets Snow like he did now, I have great defense too. Now I sacrificed Entei. I didn't want a weird turn to happen where I like bring something else in and he had like a good read on me. I also think I could have kept Entei for later. I think this was a mistake turn. I could have kept Entei for a better sack later. This Bennett, by the way. Poltergeist through the way, just Okos. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, here, Flash Cannon, yeah. I stayed in because I knew Garchomp wants to come in. Because if it's not HP Ice, I can SD and then EQ and kill. Because he revealed that it's HP Ice, I want to keep the 4-0, so Slowbro is infinitely walling this. And this is what I mean by... If he had Taunt, I would have been under more pressure. Because this Slowbro just teleported out and I got the good position afterwards immediately. And if I had to swap hard on their Volt Switch, that would have been worse for me. Or like I had to Scald and then Cryogonal comes in and then I swap into Cryogonal, giving the momentum to Kaylen. But now you see the Future Sight hit and now this Moonblast Okos or finishes off the Cobalion. And even defensive Annihilate with the Berry gets two-shotted, so... And Rage just never kills, because it's still at only 100 base power. And this is how I overcame the game. And yeah, so Flygon could have been a different Terra to prevent the KO from Entei. I think Cobalion should have had Taunt. Pelifin had to Jet Punch earlier. I had to Flame Charge against Skunk Tank. Like, these are the type of things I think about when I think about my next matchup against them. Because I'm guaranteeing that he will make changes along the lines I'm thinking right now myself. This Karagana said also, I don't think Snowscape Aurora Veil is a good combination for it in this matchup. This should be like Haze, Flash Cannon, Prevent. So this could be the dedicated Iron Valiant answer with that. With like for the special Iron Valiant. And then you only need a physical Iron Valiant check. And you could do that with like the Bulka Pelifin is really good. You could choose a Terra Flygon. And he could have done so much more to stop this Valiant to being of value, though it didn't really matter at the end. And I think the big part, as I said, is like, oh yeah, I hate that I can't skip turns after this. Is just this turn here. Turn 2, turn 3, I got so much momentum that just carried the game. So, this is what I thought about. I think from this team, Mega Gardevoir was a better bring. That one basically shits on my team if I ever decide to try to check it defensively. And Raikou was a better bring. But otherwise, pretty much what I expected. Terra Steel Flygon was the right choice because I would have Moonblasted with Valiant. I can't afford to CC or Focus Blast or whatever, and then it Terra goes. And I'm just sad. So that is the first matchup of Division 1. And the second one was Hades of Ender versus Highbridge Bros, which Omar is also here. And he will hear me go down memory lane. This matchup, I think, wasn't so long ago when that game happened. And Omar won 3-0. And if I look at the matchup, let's see. We have Hades of Ender here. And we have Highbridge Bros, I think, is at the very front. So we will do some gymnastics here. Dragapult is an insane bring here, obviously. Kills Mega Alakazam. So, and also forces Mega Alakazam to be of high speed. Right, this is also something I look at. This Alakazam, if it doesn't want to get Giga destroyed by Dragapult, has to be a high speed tier. So you kind of force specific EVs. So you know this Mega Alakazam will not be very, very bulky, like we have seen in the past. Urshifu Rapid Strike also very good in this matchup. Mega Alakazam, Corviknight also dies to it. Sandy Shocks has problems with it. But Hydrapple and Toxapex are really good core against all of this team. I'm assuming Volcarona will run Psychic, so Toxapex should run Papaya Berry and Haze and Toxic, which is a very common theory in Monotype, for example, where you know that if a Psychic Volcarona comes, you just lose his water with Giga Drain Psychic. So you prepare for it with the Papaya Berry. And I assume Mega Absol will be dedicated for Alakazam because it's the Dark type. But it's rough because Focus Blast is absolutely disgusting. And deals a lot of damage. And you get outsped. So you have to Sucker Punch, Threaten. I'm not sure if Mega Absol gets Pursued, but even if it does, you have to click Pursued on the turn it switches out, because if it Focus Blasts, you die. I think even Dazzling Gleam kills. And Nidoqueen can't really check anything on this team. So this matchup, like Kate's Offender has the good defensive side, while Omar has the good offensive side. With a lot of setup options, right? Dragon Dance, Dragapult, Sword Dance with Urshifu, Quiver Dance Volcarona. We have seen the offensive Skarmory a few times, which is still a mad-led play. I love it. And when I saw the teams, I think there's no big surprises. Because there is... Like, these are the teams you would expect to face each other when you look at the lineups, roughly. I think Ferret could have made a case because I think it got Tidy Up. And we have seen Hades Avenger has Toxic Spikes on Toxapex before, Spikes on Sandy Shocks, Carbing also lays Stealth Rocks. So just cleaning these hazards, because this is a more defensive-oriented team with a very offensive 2 combo. But, you know, Corviknight, Toxapex, Hydrapple, Carbing, very defensive. So getting rid of like Spikes, Stealth Rocks, T-Spikes is important. And because there's no poison type on this squad, I don't even know if Omar... Yeah, Omar could have brought Nidoqueen, but that invites in like a lot of threats, especially Mega Alakazam. Otherwise, Nidoqueen could be dedicated to picking up T-Spikes. So if we see the match now, we see turn 1, and Dragapult lead suggests to me that it's not a Dragon Dance set. You wouldn't send out a setup sweeper turn 1 because it's highly risky. You never know what the first one of the opponent is, what set they are, if they have like a dedicated counter to like these setup options. So this suggests to me that it's not Dragon Dance. It suggests to me that it's not Choice Scarf because they swapped it out hardcore. Like if you would be Choice Scarf, you would U-turn here, right? So you see the vote switch, dealing 22%. A good player would calc out if this is specs or not, but I'm not a good player on this. Yeah, we see the Tail Slap, obviously. Expected move, Thunder Wave, very big because Cinccino is like very fast, outspeeds basically all of this team outside of Dragapult and Electrode Hisui. See the Tail Slap into the Rocky Helmet. This is what gives players depression right here. Just seeing a Rocky Helmet destroying your mon over and over again. It's so sad. Electrode is nice bring in against Sandy Shocks. Vote switch deals nothing. Hydrapple. So we have seen, I think literally the week prior, that an Electrode was Terra Ice, killing Hydrapple. So could have seen a repeat here. Would have been funny somehow, but this time Hades was prepared for it. Terra Waters into an electric grass type, by the way, which is insane. So this turn is like, this is a mad lad play from my point of view. This is a very dedicated, I calced out that my move will kill, I Terra Water. Maybe used as an answer for Volcarona later too. This is insane to me. But it's a good play here because so if this is Terra Blast Ice, or like here Terra Blast Fairy, Hydrapple is able to eat and you fire back. Sadly, they fired back with the Fickle Beam, which obviously Terra Fairy, nothing happens. Rude indeed. Second Cinccino, good option here. Now Alakazam comes in, and this is one situation where I'm not sure if Alakazam was the best switch in. Like, if both are max speed, they're speed tie, so you have to guess which mon runs how much speed. And Alakazam chipped down is kind of unfortunate here, because if you get chipped down, like the Stealth Rocks that lay, you mega, so you can't really switch into the Stealth Rocks frequently. You see the Psyshock doesn't even kill, which I don't know how much bulk Electrode has to survive that, or if it's just naturally bulky enough. This is also, again, something I would calc out if I was playing. Mod Surge dealing nothing because Alakazam's Spadef is off the roof. And this turn is insane too, by the way. Didn't even know Skarmory learns Pursuit. And Alakazam definitely learns Focus Blast, which could deal a lot of damage to a non-special defensive Skarmory. Also static proc, which is kind of funny to see a static Alakazam. This Alakazam, by the way, dead because Stealth Rocks are up and I don't see any Spinner or Defog available here. Which basically means this position, while it looks pretty even, it really isn't. This Sandy Shocks is about to drop Electrode, but it's also nearly dead itself. Cinccino is dead, Alakazam is dead. And you see Hydrapple is, well, in range of Regenerator healing, but also has its Terra used. While the other side has their offensive backbone with Dragapult, Urshifu, and Volcarona is on full HP, where the defensive backbone is already chipped, forced to Terra. The offensive backbone is already collapsing. So I think Omar had already a very good position here. And now we see Volcarona risky bring in because we see this is a Terra Water Hydrapple and this one learns Hydro Pump and could also just Terra Blast. I don't know if Hydrapple learns any rock moves, but that would also have been very fun somehow. And we see a nasty plot here, which is also insane. So yeah, Giga Drain comes in. I assume Giga Drain was used for Sandy Shocks mainly, because I don't see any other Mon in this lineup where Giga Drain would really help. I guess Carbing, but Carbing can Terra out, will probably survive either way, and hits hard because it's a rock. So you wouldn't Giga Drain it either way. But against the Terra Water, the Giga Drain deals a lot. Hydro Pump miss, and I think that just double or triple overkills. So this miss is really big. Because now Hydrapple, which is a great answer to Urshifu 2, just died. Yeah, we see the Psychic heal, Haze. No Toxic, which means this Volcarona can just stay in and attack. First, Payapa Berry. Oh yeah, Power Gem, really nice. So this is max speed Sandy Shocks, potentially Scarf. Alakazam Zagged here. You go Urshifu here, Single Zag threatening the Sucker Punch. I think the correct play here is to just Wicked Blow, because Dragapult has not revealed any of its moveset. So it could be Substitute Hex, and so I think Wicked Blow to check for it was the more correct line. But now we see Sucker Punch in the 3T wave, and yeah, that's a 3-0 forfeit. This position is lost. This Urshifu is probably like banned or something like that. And Sucker Punch now, well, gave a free opening for this Dragapult to set up its substitute and T-Wave. And there's nothing else to be done. The miss really swung the game heavily. But I think the game was already almost won way earlier, when the offensive backbone was already collapsing. Because you can just sack more Mons and have more offense ready. But I guess if Volcarona died, there was still play. But after that, it's just GG. Yeah, this Dragapult, I think Giga outplay on Toxapex. What is Toxapex ever going to do against this? You can't ever break this up, so there's a really nice set. Let's see. I'm gonna drink something real quick, so excuse the silence. But if I talk this much and go into this much detail, I will have to drink more than usual. So next in line, we see the Iwata Incineroars versus Bax Nation, which one of the two said they are interested in seeing what I think about this match. And Iwata Incineroars, by the way, this is what my opponent, I said I lost all my AQ points against Spectria, which is very true. I was very bad there. And we see, so from the matchup, if you look at the rosters, so we had the Iwata Incineroars, we have the other side was, so I'm sorry, I'm really bad with the names, against Bax Nation. Let's see if I can get them on one screen here real quick. Iwata Incineroars are here. And the Bax Nation is up here. So let's do it like this, so we have them in full view. And, well, obviously Mega Lopunny is a guarantee bring, so is Spectre. The 2 mons basically never have a bad matchup. Lopunny can just U-turn on bad matchups. And Spectre can Will-O-Wisp, Specs, Scarf, Substitute. It's just too flexible. It really is never a bad bring. I think so is Gyarados, not a bad bring ever, because Terra means you have basically infinite step options. And this one can set up on almost anything. Great Tusk also basically always good. Darkrai also basically always good. There are only like a handful of dedicated Darkrai answers. But I think like the teams are too flexible to make big predictions. Like Koopa Unbound is really good, but I don't know if they even have it for this matchup. But Koopa Unbound basically tears holes into most teams. So I think one thing I noticed about Bax Nation's team is the speed tier is pretty low, which means Mega Lopunny could be Adamant and still be fine. Spectre could run Modest and still be fine. Like, these are the things that stand out because that increases their power output tremendously. Or they could be very bulky, especially for Spectre. That's a big risk because Spectre learning Draining Kiss means it also has a way to defeat Darkrai in the endgame. So, seeing how the game planned out, I think this opening line is already weird. Not because Slowking is a bad opening per se, but the best two opening ones for Armada Incineroars, Mega Lopunny, which has U-turn, and Iron Treads with a Volt Switch. And both defeat Slowking in themselves. Like EQ, knockoff, return did a lot because Slowking is more specially defensive. So probably a better opening line here would have been just opening the Great Tusk outright. If you're worried about like, oh, the Yancy lead, you could always flex it around to be like created to counter it. This is also just a regular Diancie, not a Mega Diancie. So you can always stealth work against it. We see that EQ doing 37, so that suggests not a very defensive Tusk. Defensive Tusks wouldn't take that much damage. CC dealing 26 on Gyarados, and this Gyarados is lefties, which like suggests a Dragon Dance and like potentially sub or fly set. If you brought Roar of Time again, that is true. That Roar of Time was insane. We saw it last week. That was something else. Waterfall, yeah, this is. I think this is the weakness with like these setup sweepers. If you have a physical setup sweeper and they contact, like this is a bailout. Because I think at +2 with EQ, Waterfall, this mon already wins the game. But because of the burn, there's still play left. So now as we see Sandslash would have died to EQ, doesn't die now, and Ice Spinner finishes it off. The Gyarados off with style. Again, Treads. I think this Great Tusk should probably be defensive if you want to use it as a Tusk answer. As a Treads answer. But it's probably Scarf. Headlong Rush obviously blasting Diancie. Using Komala as Spectre answer, by the way, nice choice because Komala is really good on it. You can Assault Vest it, and with Comatose you can't be burned. And I think it also gets Sucker Punch. Some of the 2 fact checks here could look that up. But it also just basically never dies. Can't get stepped on. It's really good. Yeah, Treads dying to Tusk, confirming the Scarf probably. And Typhlosion coming in means this Typhlosion is also Scarf. And we see like Fire Blast actually deals a lot of damage to Slowking. This Thunder Wave big, by the way, because Scarf Typhlosion now no longer is a threat. I wonder if one of the fact check dudes like sends a message or if they want to talk about it. But in general, we see the issue for Incineroars. It's just that this Great Tusk got off a lot of headlong rush coming in against mons. It only outspeeds because of Scarf. But I think Incineroars just kind of got unlucky because this matchup, oh yeah, that knockoff is big. Choice Scarf also revealed here. I think that's too many Scarfs. Like, imagine you run Scarf Typhlosion and Scarf Spectre. I think one of the two is enough. This Spectre, when I look at the matchup, probably could have been Nasty Plot or Core Mindset. Core Mind would have been better in theory, because you wouldn't expect someone to bring Komala as their dedicated answer when they have Slowking and Darkrai. And Darkrai, if you substitute Core Mind, Draining Kiss kind of prevents Darkrai from having big value against you. Like, you chip it down, and against Darkrai you always bring in your Diancie, and the residual damage from the Draining Kiss will wear it down. And against Slowking, you just substitute Core Mind, and it at one point can no longer break your substitute. So yeah, we see Komala U-turns on Lopunny. Slowking coming in, which is a bit crazy. I was sure Great Tusk Scarf would come in. Like, now, that's like the more accurate line. It should also not headlong rush. It could CC, because Spectre coming in means Komala comes in. We saw Komala taking no damage. You can U-turn out with Komala on the outspeed of Spectre. We saw it Scarf, so it's no subset. So I think it could have been a 5-0 instead of 4-0. By just a bit more accurate line. Yeah, this Slowking will definitely finish off Lopunny. Well, Spectre tanks, but we see, this is what I mean, like, Darkwood stealing 17%. That confirms like a Sword Vest to me, by the way. Yeah, I think what Omar just wrote me something. That's no noise you heard. I think in general, the idea of bringing Komala against Spectre was really big. And I think Choice Scarf Great Tusk is an interesting bring. It's interesting because at one hand, it's not good into like threats, right? Because threats could also be Scarf, outspeeds you, and you just get worn down, because we saw it come in as the only check to threats. But at the same, because Moltres died to Gyarados. But on the other side, the increased speed means it can threaten out mons like Lopunny, even though like we saw Headlong Rush doesn't do it. And on the other hand, I think the idea of like the Terra Grass Gyarados was the right idea. And with leftovers, maybe should have like thought about a different way to beat Moltres to not make contact. But in general, like this Gyarados should have 6-0'd. It got kind of robbed with the burn. But that's the game we play. Also, this is very smart. I will highlight this here. Bringing Facade means if you get burned by Moltres, you just absolutely blast it afterwards. So this is a very, very smart bring. It kind of counteracts what Moltres has done this game by demolishing the sad physical sweeper. I will take another sip. And we will see the Detroit Dussys versus the Plymouth Primeapes. And this is the game that made me think about sets and set options the most when I saw it. Because there are so many mons with great moveset options and like flexibility. And I think there's like a lot to go into here. And the major player here is Heatran. And I will highlight this in the Div 2 rosters. Plymouth Primeapes, where are the Detroit Dussys? I'm not seeing them there. They are. So, Plymouth Primeapes have a very, very fast offense with a very slow bulk, while the Detroit Dussys have a more mid-ground speed tier. Like Coco outspeeds Meowscarada. We know Garchomp outspeeds Salamence. Like, there's just a small edge in speed from the top hitters. But Heatran is a wild card. Because Heatran has a lot of moves and is very flexible. And I think this Heatran here has one of the most interesting matchups it will ever have. Because you don't need the Flame Absorb ability. I forget its name. I can look it up right here. Flashfire. Would you look at that? See, I know names. Flashfire. So Heatran doesn't need Flashfire, which means it can be Flame Body, which makes it insanely good versus Scissor, which basically wants to U-turn over and over again most of the times, and then it accidentally burns itself on Heatran. And Heatran also has the very nasty move Magma Storm, which, and now this is the moveset options I was thinking about. If Heatran wasn't allowed to run Flame Body and was forced to run Flashfire, then Porygon 2 would be the perfect answer to Heatran, because you can't be Magma Storm trapped. But because the Heatran is Flame Body, but Porygon 2 because of Trace, right? Sorry, I should have gone into that. Yeah, Porygon 2 has Trace. So you can take the Flashfire, get hit by the Magma Storm, and not care about it. But because this Heatran can run Flame Body, it can now be the perfect answer to Porygon 2. Because now this is something a lot of players did in the past. I'm gonna put it in here. This Heatran just has to be leftovers with Flame Body. And then you Magma Storm, you Toxic, and you Taunt. And the reason for it is Magma Storm prevents switching out and deals damage over and over again. Toxic deals damage every turn and stacks up. Yeah, this is illegal because we are not in net decks right here. I could change that, but generally speaking, I think the idea is clear. Let's go net decks Ubers. And Taunt prevents the Porygon 2's only way of surviving this in Teleport. Because this is a non-damaging move, switches you out, which ignores Magma Storm. And this set was used a lot in the past. And the last move usually is Protect to stall out more turns. And this set completely destroys every slow mon. Because they just get ticked down, they can't teleport out, they would have to need like U-turn, Volt Switch, which we see like the Porygon, the Quagsire, you can trap with it, will not have. Well, Quagsire can just EQ and kill you, but that's another thing. And that would have been an interesting set to bring. It also denies Mega Scissor fully, because Mega Scissor just dies to every Magma Storm in existence. And Magma Storm also is good here because it deals a lot of damage to like Tapu Koko, to Garchomp. So the base damage of it is so high that no mon really wants to come in on it. Quagsire also can be toxic. So I think that set is very good here. And it's the set I immediately thought about when I saw the matchup. And when I saw how the game played out, that's why I highlight the Taunt. And we will see later why. I think here is a funny situation where Mega Scissor is really good against Mega Gardevoir, but so bad into Heatran and into Clodsire that it has a tough time, but also having the best of times. And so I think these two teams, it's a lot of player skill and a lot of like decision making in the game, because the teams line up really well to insane outplay turns. Where like, if you get a read right and U-turn vote switch on the right turn with like Tapu Koko Mega Scissor, which is a very common call, right? Vote switch, U-turn, threatening the opponent. Meanwhile, if the Detroit Dussys get the read right, like Clodsire, infinite wards Koko, and Heatran, infinite wards Scissor. So as long as they have leftovers, you shouldn't really come into a situation where your HP is low enough for like mons like Garchomp to be an issue. Because also for Garchomp you have like Electrotisui, which you can also Terra if they want to scale shot on you, like Terra Fairy. Meowscarada Scarf also outspeeds +1 and has Play Rough or Triple Axle, like pick one. I think in this matchup, knockoff Triple Axle is better. And when you see the game play out, that dirty Primeape. Yeah, this Primeape is really good. Like for 6 cost with Terra, it's really good. We see Koko like so afraid that it even runs U-turn and gets Rocky Helm chipped. And I think Scissor might like not be the check for Clodsire. I know like Clodsire can poison, but it basically walls you. On the other hand, like you just drain its PP, and here's one of the situations, right? This Scissor doesn't want to click U-turn, and now we see like this is a situation where Trace, we see Flame Body. If it was Flash Fire, it couldn't be Magma Stormed, and we see Substitute, which could be a replacement for the Protect, because weaker mons can't break the sub. And now if you Toxic and Taunt, this Porygon is dead. But we see Sub and Protect, which means it either doesn't have Taunt or it doesn't have Toxic. And now we see it doesn't have Taunt, which means, yeah, this is another reason why you run Taunt, right? And this recovers and teleports out. And I think the Heatran set was the right idea. It was a really, really, really good bring here, because the only one that can reliably check the Heatran are like Porygon and Quagsire, because you don't want your Garchomp to be poisoned. But you can't really bring them in if they are trapped like this for it. And that means like this Heatran set would like destroy the defensive backbone of Porygon and Quagsire. And then your mons like Meowscarada, like Electrotisui just goes super in because you outspeed at that point with Scarf. And Mega Gardevoir also like would have a lot of fun, because you can't Bullet Punch with Scissor, because then Heatran comes in and just traps your next mon. So this is a really nasty set for the matchup. But because it's not Protect, we see the right idea here, by the way, like teleporting out of this misery. Trigger Primeape. And it has Sub, which Magma Storm breaks, but Magma Storm only has 8 PP. Yeah, Quagsire getting trapped here. Now we see it's Terra Poison, so doesn't get Toxic here. And Earthquake obviously breaks the sub every time. I think Heatran should have probably like checked if this would recover, because it's down at 50%. Yeah, it's Swagsire, because it's Clodsire. We've got Clodsire at home with Terra Poison, which, by the way, very good Terra option to prevent Toxic, to prevent the Clodsire T-Spikes. Also really good against the Fairy Gardevoir, though it will probably Psychic you to death anyways, but you have Scissor. Also helps with Meowscarada. So this Quagsire was really good, because like this Earthquake from Clodsire doesn't ever damage Quagsire all too much. Yeah, Scissor takes no damage here. Now Garchomp comes in, and that is in theory, it's a good play, because EQ threatens this out. We see a very nasty recover stay in here. Like, that's a very risky return, because if this Garchomp just EQ'd, I think Clodsire would have been gone, and this Clodsire is very important to check the Tapu Koko. Like, this Clodsire set is really, really good. So staying in against Garchomp is a very big risk, but it's a great reward because you're now at full health. Mega God of War will super die to this Earthquake though. But now we see Meowscarada. This will probably run Triple X or Play Rough. Yeah, we see the Triple Axle. Now we see Quagsire with Rocky Helmet, which is a really good choice again. Just punishing the Quacarvel, the Meowscarada. This could also be Water Absorb, which it isn't. It's probably unaware. But if it was Water Absorb, it would also prevent the Aqua Step, which would have been one hell of a tech. I would have absolutely respected that. And yeah, we see this Quagsire with Rocky Helmet is very, very good here. And because God of War was sacked earlier because you had not really a choice against this Garchomp set, you can't break this Quagsire with a strong Psychic move anymore. I think Quacarvel gets Rapid Spin, should spin the rocks away later. But we see this spams Earthquake, this spams Roost. Yeah, now it U-turns out. Probably no Rapid Spin then. We see Clodsire comes in, this EQ. Oh, Terra Blast. That's... I think EQing, continuing to EQ was better. Because, well, Meowscarada and Electrode History will not come in anyways. Because the EQ did a lot of damage anyways. Because they are like offensive threats, so they are not really bulky. But I like the idea of Terra Blasting into Meowscarada or Electrode History. Just threatening them with the immediate KO. Also we see here, like, casually tracing the Unaware. Imagine if Porygon actually had Unaware, that would be so busted. Yeah, we see it teleport out. And here we see something very nice. This is also a big reason why Terra Poison is so good. You just take away the T-spikes that were just laid, and there's nothing they can do about it. This Primeape has revealed Substitute, so it will probably sub again here. Yeah. Now, Electrode History, I don't know if it has a sound type move that would hit Primeape here. Probably not. Static is really big. And the fact that this Primeape tanks like a T-Bolt, like it's not even just a stab T-Bolt, it's a Terra stab T-Bolt, right? So it's double damage instead of 1.5. Mine's like, this is a very bulky Primeape. And Electrode also not the best special, I guess, but that's like very good bulk. And with Drain Punch, obviously it's up. It also probably is Rage Fist. Which means like if it ever comes in and gets a free attack off, this Rage Fist will deal a lot of damage. You see this Meowscarada about to die too, to this Quagsire. And we see a slow, methodical game from, well, here they say Nightwing, which is Nightwing. I think it's the Plymouth Primeapes with the Primeape. But yeah, I think if this Porygon 2 was fully trapped earlier by Heatran, this game would be way, way more difficult to play for the Plymouth Primeapes. Here we see, obviously, defugging the T-Spikes away. Not really necessary with Quagsire, but it's nice. So this Bullet Punch basically heals Clodsire. I'm gonna skip this a few turns sometimes now, because we will see, like, if the matchup is the same thing, yeah, we see the Rage Fist is like good damage, actually. For a non-step, it probably defensive invested Primeape, which we saw because of the damage it took earlier, that Rage Fist was a really solid damage output. Because Clodsire physical defense is really good. Yeah, we see here Garchomp Skate Shotting. Big Turn basically reveals the Scarf Meowscarada. And now here's the thing. If Garchomp tanks more than 2 triple Axle hits, Meowscarada dies to the Rough Skin before Garchomp dies, which means Garchomp just literally stays alive with the speed boost. But because it has a defense down and it's quite effective, and stab, because Meowscarada is a fun one, it kills. And now we see, like, this Heatran could still easily win the game. That's like hidden power fighting, I guess. adopted Hidden Power Ground. That should have done way more. Yeah, and this is where the weakness of Magma Storm with no taunt really shines. Because now we see this Magma Storm kills, which is big. I think here on the EQ turn, protect EQ. Maybe recovering was the better play. But I see why you EQ. Like, you always want to make sure that this sub is broken because your entire team is weak to it right now. But Magma Storm only has 2 PP left. And it would have had more PP left if this Porygon was already dead and trapped early from the trap earlier. Which just shows how important the PP management with like taunt to preserve PP on these recovers is. Because now this Scizor, because now there's no Magma Storm. This Scizor has no enemy anymore because this Heatran can't hit it. And Quackava is a physical threat, which means Scizor doesn't care about it. We see a lot of turns now. But this Scizor... Dude, stop starting win already. This is getting annoying. Yeah, this can't win. The dual wing beat also means like Quackava takes a lot of damage. And physical defense of Scizor probably means it also deals no damage. And Heatran can't attack. So there's a lot of stalling and like hoping something works. But we see here like that Bullet Punch dealt nothing. But if the dual wing beat would have dealt some damage. Oh, these out of dual wing beat. See, like I skipped through so many turns I didn't see that dual wing beat was out of PP. That's really rough. Yeah. So like this Scizor wards Quackava, but Quackava also wards this Scizor to some degree, and this Scizor wards Heatran, and Heatran is fine versus Coco, but can't fight back without Toxic, which this Scizor can come in. So Coco Scizor is the stronger duo here, because, well, we see Coco comes in on Quackava. And even like this Aqua Jet dealt a bit of damage. But we see it still speeds, which could be Scarf or Quackava is just not speed. Not heavily speed invested. You see, like this can only deal damage with Toxic. So you can just go Scizor and literally finish the turns off by just wasting PP until Heatran has to struggle. Which is exactly what happens. After a very long game. 106 turns. The Plymouth Primeapes with, I think, a very, very, like, good ideas. Like, the dual wing beat is so good into the Masquerade, into the Quackava, into the Electro Tissue even, to some degree. And Bullet Punch obviously checks Gardevoir. I think if the Heatran set had taunt, this game would have been won by the other side. Because the set is so good into the slow defensive core. And because it completely destroys a Scizor with no U-turn. But also you don't want a U-turn because of Flame Buddy. So I think both teams had like great building. And it basically showed what I said earlier, where it's like both teams have the option to win the game. And I think every game that goes 106 turns could be won by either player. And they just had very, very straightforward play, but always played to their outs and their respective like win cons. And I think this was like the match for me for like how small moveset changes or like small moveset decisions really like decide the game. Because let's say this Meowscarada wouldn't be Scarf, like that game would have been lost on guard jump immediately. So both sides bringing the correct sets by design. And I think with small tweaks, this game could have been swung heavily in one or the other direction. Like if Porygon had a way to break Substitute from Heatran, the Heatran couldn't have infinite substituted on it either. Tri-Tech also, it's an inaccuracy, but it's a really fun move to pick. Because Tri-Tech is like really, really good into the Masquerade, into the Kokava, right? But you wouldn't say no Kokava, I guess. And with the burn, para, or freeze chance, you can basically spam it until something happens. But because of Heatran, I think maybe like a different move would have helped more. But I'm not sure if any move would break the sub without not trace the download and special attack boost. That's something you would have to calc out. So yeah, like really, really good match overall. And I think both teams brought really, really great builds. Oh, that's the standings. Would you look at that? And yeah, it was literally like 100 turns match. I think in draft leagues is really rare because, as you've seen before, you bring very dedicated answers. So the games usually end pretty fast because both teams know what the win cons are. And as soon as one answer drops, the win con just goes through, right? But because both players like checked their opponent's win cons well, this game was really close. So we see Xoviet Yunion versus Lincoln and Lucarios. And this is an 05, which I will pause as soon as the 05 happens. There's something to talk about here too. But first we can look at the rosters. Let's see which meta drop did I just open. Soviet Union is Lincoln Lucarios. See, I'm literally, I have no memory about these things, while I have a great memory about other random things I shouldn't know. So it's this matchup over here. Diagonally to each other. Would you look at that? Oh, Iron Bounder is so nasty here. Like with the Rain Core of Barraskewda, Pelipper, Arcalodon. That's really good. I mean, we saw Arcalodon is a monster. Especially with Assault Vest. You can, in Rain, with Assault Vest, you have the Electro Shot to boost your special attack. You have Stamina to boost your body press damage. And there are only like a handful of answers. I think Deoxys defense is really good here. I think we saw this Deoxys defense bringing the setup set where it boosts both of its defenses, which is a very nasty set. One of the reasons why I hate Deoxys defense. Probably should be more than 13 points. At least it can't Terra. Wobbuffet is really good in this matchup, as I see, because you can basically trap whatever you want, anchor it into whatever move it clicks, and just finish it off. The only ones that can really two-shot it, you can bury against, or like spread against them most likely, I guess so too. So if we look at the teams, it's a Rain Core and Wobbuffet. Venusaur is probably a good bring in general because of Mega Altaria, and well, Ogerpon doesn't care because it ignores the ability. But Metagross also doesn't really want to face Mega Venusaur, not a Sun DT. Donphan struggles a bit with it too. Overquit too. And on the other side, we see very much like expected. We see the very strong Iron Bundle. We see the Thunderous Terrain. Terrain. See, I'm so bad with this. We see the Ogerpon Halflame, which is a really big trouble for rain teams. And you wouldn't think of it at first, right? It's a fire type. You would just kill it. But because it gets Trailblaze, it can outspeed your rain sweepers. And it one-shots them. And outside of rain, Ivy Cutshell also deals a ton of damage against the Venusaur Arcalodon. Also has low kick for Arcalodon. And Sword Dance to set up its damage. So there's a lot of play for both sides. Which makes what happens even more unfortunate. We see Mega Venusaur. The Ice Beam doesn't deal as much because of Thick Fat. Sleep Powder on Metagross is really big in the matchup. I think Sleep Powder in general is like, it's not used much outside of draft leagues on Mega Venusaur anymore, but in draft leagues, it's really good. Because sleep is just a heavy swing so frequently. That Stone Edge miss is so unfortunate, by the way. And Weather Ball. This is something I love. This is something I love about draft leagues that you wouldn't see outside of draft leagues. If you bring this team to any metagame that isn't a draft league, this Thunderous would never have Weather Ball, right? It wouldn't run the move. It's not a move that it helps the mon at all. But because he knew his opponent has a rain team, and their Thunderous answer is a ground type with Lendo T, well, your Iron Hands probably could check it too. But in general, they decided to run Weather Ball to just catch the Lendo T on it. It didn't work here, but that's like a very, very smart bring. The Metagross comes in, a Caledon comes in. That's a nice double. Here we see the Electro Shot I talked about earlier. Deals very little damage, which could be AV Metagross. Knockoff, I think, a bit risky because of the stamina. Like, stamina is a very, very strong ability on the Caledon. Yeah, if this Caledon had Body Press here, I would just have finished off Metagross already with the insane defense boosts it already got. And now you have to attack it special because 3x defense. And if we look at it, like, where is it? Arcaniners. We see 130 defense. Even if you don't invest, right? Nearly 300 defense times 3, you will not break this. So you have to hit on the special defensive side, which makes Assault Vest so good on it, by the way. Because you just basically buff the very weak defense, special defense it has, and abuse the very high physical defense. And I think that was the turn. Yeah, because Arcaladon. So the rules say the Terra captains are not allowed to cost more than 12 points. And Xoviet decided to Terra with Arcaladon, which is not the Terra captain, which can't be the Terra captain because of 14 points. And that's a bit unfortunate. I think the game went up to a 1-0 win for Lincoln Lucarios either way. But we don't even have to watch it, technically speaking. I will watch it anyways, but we don't technically have to. Because at this position, the game is counted as a forfeit from this position, which means all the kids go to Thunderous. And because there's 5 months left, it's a 5-0 win. And the reason for it is, now if we counted the 1-0 victory that Beamcore actually had, then Soviet Union would have gotten a 4-point differential in their favor by cheating on accident. Which is something you want to avoid, right? You don't want people to get a better score by accidentally cheating. And if we said, oh, it's a 3-0 every time at this position, it would have been again 2 score difference better. So you basically count from the position where the rule break happened and say, okay, this is the position they just forfeited the game. If they forfeited the game in this position, if they clicked concede in game, how would you rule it? And so that's why all kids got to Thunderous, because it's out on the field at the time. And it's a 5-0 because 5 months are left alive. We'll continue watching though, just to see what happens, because this is like Wobbuffet comes in, obviously mirror codes against Thunderous, 2 Focus Blast Mists. Wobbuffet as sad about it as Thunderous, because it wants to get hit here. You see, this is like the most free kill, obviously. Overkill, like, this Sword Dance is a bit greedy, technically, because this Wobbuffet could have the Colbur Berry Anchor to ensure that you crunch. And then on your next crunch, go Lando, force you out with EQ, U-turns on you. Like, there's a lot of move options here. Because I countered, it's a free kill. Kaylen is not Xoviet's Terra Captain. Well, GG. Playing it out for funsies, I guess. I mean, as I said, it was an accident. It happens to all of us. Terra Water, by the way, great choice to kill the Slender guaranteed. Rock Polish, also a great moveset option. Like, double dance Slender with EQ Stone Edge super goes into this team otherwise. So overkill catching the snipe with the liquidation is really big here. Crunch at 1 plus 1.5, dealing no damage to Venusaur. Like 47, that's insane, honestly. Giga Drain, no. Deals a lot of damage back. And because of defense stop, it would kill. So you have to swap. I see Pelipper also physical defensive. Like physical defensive Xoviet Yunion with like Venusaur, Arcaladon, Pelipper is very strong. I think the special side is the easier side to attack here. We see Cloud9, which is also fun. It's also insane to run Cloud9 Hurricane Mega Altaria. I think if it didn't Mega, it would have dealt more damage because of Stab. Now Sludge Bomb kills. Ogerpon comes in, has Mold Breaker. Ivy Cutchel, even in rain. Like, this Ivy Cutchel is so strong. Barrascuda comes in, Liquidation, Okos this. And now Iron Bundle can just freeze try twice and win. Like, even if Barrascuda stayed in, Iron Bundle has great defense. So I would have tanked the move anyways, because it's also resisted. And Freestyle obviously always kills Barrascuda twice over. So both sides had a few interesting ideas. Like Wobbuffet, I think, is a really good bring here. And if it anchored the overkill on the Sword Dance, that would have been insane. That would have been a very, very big play. It came down to 1-0 because both sides played really well in the offensively. Because both teams, if you look at it, like their defensive options do not line up well into the opponent's offense. With the exception of like Deoxys defense, which can basically cover whatever you want. Like, defensively speaking, both teams struggle against what the opponent brings in offense. Like, Iron Bundle deals a lot of damage to Arcaladon because of the weak special defense. And kills Venusaur. Even through Thick Fat after, like, a bit of chip. Because its special attack is so good. And then also, like, Mega Venusaur has to Giga Drain it, basically, to kill it back. Which you have a lot of answers to. Like, basically, the next all of mons outside of Dawnfen can eat Giga Drains left and right. So this game was very close. And a big part of it was also the Barrascuda was a big part of it, obviously, and Wobbuffet. And Arcaladon. This Arcaladon is like, if this was Assault Vest or Choppleberry and didn't accidentally Terra, then the Focus Blast from Thunderous wouldn't be a threat. And since Thunderous is the only special attacker that really threatens Arcaladon outside of Iron Bundle, which you can chuck with Wobbuffet, that would probably have been the bring. Also, Volt Absorb means Thunderous can come in against the Electroshot from Arcaladon. So you kind of want Arcaladon to have a way to be Thunderous naturally anyways. Because Thunderous is the very straightforward check to whatever Arcaladon wants to do. Because Body Press, you resist. Flash Cannon, you resist. Electroshot, you Volt Absorb. So having like Draco Meteor and Assault Vest, Choppleberry, eating the move from Thunderous, Draco Meteoring it back, probably doesn't even kill, but after an Electroshot boost could kill. And you still get the boost if Electroshot gets Volt Absorbed, because it's the first part of the move is the boost, and only the second part gets absorbed. Unlike with some other moves where it's like, if it hits, you get the boost, right? Like Charge Beam. Because Electroshock says it charges you first, the special attack rises even if you get absorbed. Same with Meteor Beam, by the way. If Meteor Beam misses, you still get the special attack boost, right? Now let's see. It's Manx Meowstics versus the Flavortown Flareons. And a 2-0. And Manx Meowstics won, so I'm gonna take the winner's side here. Let's look at the matchup. Where are they? Manx Meowstics, Flavortown Flareons. Something I immediately notice is how good Gouging Fire is in this matchup. So Gouging Fire demolishes Palafin. And it also can set up on Tangrowth and Cobalion and probably Rotom Frost because you outspeeded at +1. Heat Crash kills Tangrowth. You can run a Dragon move to kill Darius. And then you have one space for Morning Sun to heal up. So yeah, that would be a really good one here. Obviously, Lele Sneasler is very good. Because Lele Sneasler outspeeds basically everything here. And I think that's the weakness of Manx Meowstics' team. Yeah, I guess Darkrai is a good speed control. But otherwise the team is super slow. Like between Darkrai and Larias, right, there's 33 points of speed, which you can't even cover with Scarf because you don't want Palafin to be Scarf near like any of these defensive backbone ones. So the team is more on the slow side, which also is good for Gouging Fire because Gouging Fire does well into slower teams because its damage is absurd. Lele also good against slow teams. Sneasler also, like, obviously good against whatever, as long as you get an SD off. I think Obstagoon is really good into this team too, because Obstagoon just doesn't care. Like, Tangro's best answer to many mons is just putting them to sleep with Sleep Powder first, and seeing afterwards, like, Leech Seed, Giga Drain, whatever. Well, Tangrowth could Focus Blast against Obstagoon, but you don't want to Focus Blast against Lele Sneasler and like Corsola Core. So I think that would have been like a very good bring here, Obstagoon. I don't know if they brought it. We see, yeah, we see it here. That's very nasty. Let's see how it goes. Two of my best friends, I can't root for anyone. That happens sometimes. Yeah, here also another good thing, right? Darkrai, Darkrai is very known for Hypnosis. Well, back in the day it was Dark Void, but after the nerf, Hypnosis. And you can just protect or obstruct, which lowers the defense. And with the Flame Orb and Guts, means you can't be put to sleep by Darkrai either. And the stab of Darkrai doesn't hurt you. So that's something. And Terra Normal Facade, we see a lot of damage here. We see Toxic, which you can't Toxic Obstagoon. Big knockoff. And the Leftovers. Leftover knockoff, by the way, like, people underestimate how much damage this is. Like, think of every turn where knockoff healing would have occurred as an additional 6% of damage. And then you see why knockoff on Leftovers is so big. Like, this is not 36% damage. This is 36 plus 6 plus 6. It's basically like burning the opponent. Cobalion, see, takes not much damage. And I wonder if, like, the idea was just, oh, I want to see how it goes. Oh, let me vote switch out because he will probably not stand with Obstagoon. But Obstagoon, no fear, staying in. That was a really good play. I think Facade, normal, Obstagoon, like, you can just stay in like that, because if it dies, like, it already done its job, right? It chipped down Tangrowth, it chipped down the Cobalion, it threatened out the Darkrai, which basically means it's not as bad as Elite anymore. It knocked off the Sylveon, probably will knock out the Sylveon here. Oh no, that doesn't, because it clicked CC. If it clicked Facade there, that would have been crazy. Also, count another +6 to that counter I said earlier. Yeah, this is a problem. Yeah, it really is. Oh, with the crit also, like, that's nasty. It finally dies to the burn. And Rocky Helmet, by the way, like, another, like, Rocky Helmet, underestimated item. Most physical attackers make contact frequently. And because of that, like, Rocky Helmet kills so many physical attackers out of nowhere. I think here we see, like, one of the very, very, very telegraphed turns, but there's the issue with Peliphan. Like, it's a really broken mon, but it has to come in at one point, otherwise you don't get the value of the 160 attack. So Manx Meowstics took the chance for, like, you know, the free turn, something died, let me bring it in. But because Torterra's in, it really, like, has to switch out immediately again. But you can't have it in the back for the entire game, because if this team gets chipped too much, then you can't really get Peliphan in and out anymore. So yeah, flip turn, obviously a very good choice. Shell Smash, I think this is like a move that got, like, it's a rather new move on Torterra on Gen 9, but it's really good here. Like, here we see something interesting. That's why I stopped speaking. It's a really good move on it for drafts, because most of the time EQ Stone Edge goes through the entire team. So boosting the damage is very big. And something that we noticed here is, like, at ×2, you got Outsped, which basically confirms this Peliphan to be Scarf and this Torterra to be Adamant. Otherwise, the speed tiers wouldn't align. It could be Scarf and Jolly, but I would have to calc. Like, it's 232 times 2, so 464 and 328 times 1.5 is over 464. So it could be Jolly to Torterra. But it has to get a second Shell Smash to outspeed this Peliphan, at which point Jet Punch kills. So really good choice by Modern Citizenship. Flip turning out, not risking anything. And yeah, probably just gonna Wave Crash kill this. Yeah. Now Lele should die to Wave Crash, obviously twice over. And as we saw, because this is Scarf, like, it obviously outspeeds even if this is Scarf Lele. Here we have a Palossand answering Sneasler. This is a very sad matchup, by the way. Like, you will not make progress against Palossand as Sneasler. Crusola coming in against that Starfrox is very ballsy. After Sneasler has shown the willingness to Night Slash. If it has SD and Night Slashes afterwards, it's a 2KO. So you should have probably attacked, but that Dark Pulse being disabled is sad for Darkrai. But yeah, if this like Earth Powered, like, that was probably more, like, covers also the Gouging Fire switch on, right? But in general, like, this is a tough situation, because you didn't really have many options. And like, for Sneasler Gouging, you didn't really have many options against the Palossand if it Earth Powers there, because of the Toxic reveal. Same Corsola coming in is rough. Oh, I accidentally skipped turn instead of pressing play. That's how bad I am. Yeah, Strength Up, heals up. Doesn't heal full, because Palossand has no attack. Now we see this Toxic, and this Corsola would have walled out Peliphan basically eternally. Because it's Toxic now, it can't do that anymore. Also, we see now, like, Darkrai comes in, and you have nothing. Because Darkrai can Psychic. It can OHKO Sneasler. And Gouging Fire's defense is very good, but its special defense is lackluster. Not disabled on the Dark Puts either, so Gouging Fire will get Dark Puts here. We see Proto being an attack boost. We see Spatial Rant. Not a Roar of Time as we saw in, I think, Division 1, which was still insane to me. Spatial Rant crit killing. I think it kills even without a crit. You could attack Gouging Fire to get the speed boost and outspeed Darkrai immediately. But it's a really tough choice to make. I think in general, choosing Photosynthesis with booster energy, because like Gouging Fire, I think you can actually fix it to get whatever. Like, let's see. Because you can get attack easily, you can get speed easily, you can get defense easily, and you can get special defense easily. If you just take, like if you go fully into special defense and fully into speed with the rest, like you already get Spadef. You can also go high Spadef and still get a speed boost and put the rest in attack. Like you can, you see, oh, not the rest in attack, because then you get attack boost. So you could be like this and get a speed boost by being super specially defensive, having attack and some HP. Like there are so many options with Gouging Fire. And I think speed boosting here would have been better for the game, but attack boosting usually is the strongest. So I do not blame the choice. Now, Sneasler outspeeding means this is not a full speed Darkrai. But what you gonna do against Palosano? Well, this would have critted actually, then would have been in Trouble Town. Also no SD. Because this is not Earth Power, I guess. Because Pelosand not clicking Earth Power to finish the game means it, okay, it just didn't want to click Earth Power, I guess. That's a crit probably wins. Only on the first turn. Only here. Because if this doesn't crit, Earth Power should always kill. So should have always Earth Powered here. But yeah. There's a situation where like Pelosand is such a good answer to Sneasler. That's just very sad. Darkrai also, like, I think the Spatial Rant choice versus Gouging Fire was really smart. Because otherwise Gouging Fire just dances on you once. Because it can eat any move at once by spreading into special defense and HP. And at +1, at that point, I think it just wins. Because Pelofin deals no damage to it. Especially not with Scarf. Because of its naturally high defense. I think it was 121, right? I do not want to lie here. Yeah, 121 with 105 HP. So you really can't break it physically. Night Slash also the right choice. I think if this is Sword Dance also, like, that just wins. So a lot of good choices. Scarf Pelofin to check the Torterra after Shard Smash is very smart. And Tangrowth probably could have also checked it, but Tangrowth was busy dying to Obstagoon, which was already causing mayhem. So also, like, if you look at the start, right, it looked like Manx Meowstics would be losing. Because this Obstagoon did so much, and that's kind of what I mean. Like, Obstagoon is such a big threat to slower teams if you can't bring in your fast mons. So that was a really, like, really smart choice to lead with it. Alright, I'm gonna take another sip. My drink is almost empty, people. But we only have 2 games left. 3 games left. I see the Choice Scarf Diggersby game is not here yet, but I think they played, right? Unless they played someone else. No, they played this game, yeah. Not updated in the docs. Mods. Oh, I see someone immediately, like, I see just going on their watch, adding it. Okay, that's the Kalamazoo Kingdras. That's the Choice Scarf Diggersby. And we have the Miami Mimikyus left also. So let's put them in order. I think CSdiggersby, yeah, this was the order in the schedule. Yeah. So let's see. CSdiggersby, still the wrong item. Can't make me not say that. But let's see the situation here. CSdiggersby versus... Oh yeah, it's Dimster. Yeah, the trust. I know who that is. It's San Jose Scott, which is here. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember this game. I've seen the end of it. I didn't see the entire game though. We see another Great Tusk Iron Treads matchup where Great Tusk is technically the better mon, but Treads outspeeds it, which can cause situations where Tusk dies to it. Baxcalibur is also really rough for this team. Like, Baxcalibur gets Sword Dance and Glaive Rush, which breaks down. Like, it kills Glowking. Or Glowbro. It also gets EQ, which kills Glowbro. Icicle Crash kills Tusk. And Zapdos. EQ kills Scizor. But Scizor kills it with Bullet Punch, if it's Choice Band, I guess. It also kills Blaziken. So there's a lot of like, this Baxcalibur has a lot of targets it can kill, especially after +2. Diggersby also like very strong here. Like the only EQ switch in they have is Zapdos, which you kill with Stone Edge. Especially Diggersby gets Sword Dance, so Sword Dance, Stone Edge absolutely kills Zapdos, and Quick Attack threatens stuff like Zamarot later. Vikavolt also really big here. I just noticed like there are so many mons that are so threatening here in this situation. Like on the other side you have Blaziken, which always like give Blaziken 2 turns and this game is over. Because it just sword dances and gets the speed boost and then this is done. And Scizor checks many good mons like Baxcalibur. Garganacl gets stopped by Scizor because Garganacl is very it's a menace. Could also, by the way, now that we talk about it, if you ever struggle with Garganacl, you could run Covered Cloak. How it is not affected by secondary effects. That counts for Garganacl's Sword Q. This counts as this damage I return counts as an additional effect. So a little tech idea for you people. Garganacl gets basically stopped by that, which because something that happens frequently is Garganacl is the body press iron defense thing. And then it sword cures your answer to that, like your poison type, for example, or your ghost type. And that with Covered Cloak, that doesn't happen anymore. So you can check it more freely. But I think like Garganacl will have a hard time here anyways. I wonder if it's broad. Yeah, it's not broad. Probably wouldn't have brought it either. Let's see. Oh, Typhlosion is so good here too. Let's see. I wanna watch this. I joined here. It says I joined here, but I was watching my team for Monotype Winter Premier League. Oh, not Winter Premier. NetDex Monotype Premier League. So you see Reflect, and I think I asked before, like, Aurora Veil is a Reflect, and let's see, Aurora Veil. Aurora Veil is I can't spell, boys. Aurora Veil is basically both screens in one. Damage is to all allies halved, while Reflect is only to physical. Oh yeah, it's illegal here. Should look at that. I'm just gonna type it in like this. Can't stop me. Kargon and both. Aurora Veil and Reflect don't stack. This is the same effect in-game. So if you open the damage calculator and let's say situation is a Diggersby, because that's one of the mons. And the other side has Auroras. And we can see here like Light Screen and Reflect and Aurora Veil. It just says Aurora Veil here, and I could turn off Light Screen and Reflect and the damage would be the same. And that's because screens don't stack. You can only count one, so Aurora Veil is just better. Reflect is easier to get out though, so there are some situations where if the opponent also plays a weather team, Reflect is actually better because you can guarantee it. And sometimes you need this guarantee. But I think here, like, Aurora Veil would be better. See Typhlosion Shadow Ball, absolutely blasting Starmie. Got me with the Scarf. Yeah, that Scarf was nasty. Caesar's Edgemas really sad, but Aurora shouldn't take too much damage. Yeah, because Reflect in Snow, it's an Ice type, so it gets a defense boost. Here we see Reflect Aurora Veil, and this is what I said like earlier. This doesn't stack, so the damage doesn't really help. Finally one landed this season. Yeah, Caesar's Edge, one of the most busted moves, by the way. Like, laying spikes, it's so good. And laying spikes with damage with a 97.5 because of sharpness damage move is so big. You see Frog is running Light Screen, and this is kind of where the whole, and I'm sorry to say something negative, right? Like, there's always room for tags and interesting ideas. But basically here, Choice-Scarf Diggersby limits themselves a lot by running basically 2 moves they don't need. And if they freed up the 2 move slots, I think the creativity of their builds could be like skyrocketing, right? And this is why I say this. It's not like, oh, look at them, they're so bad. No, it's genuinely like they could literally achieve much more. And also, like, this Samurott shouldn't have gotten a 3rd Spike Slayer, for example. So if this Florgus just killed it, you wouldn't have to deal with the spikes. We see Wish Protect, obviously Florgus. Great moveset. Flip turn crit, that's super unfortunate. Like, that Florgus should never have died there. And the Reflect is also getting lost, obviously, because of it. You see Reflect Aurora Veil. We see a very nasty Slowbro set. Like, this Iron Defense set, I like the idea. This could also be Sugarberry, potentially. And then it can eat an EQ from Diggersby. Or an EQ from Excalibur. And because Slowbro Galar is high physical defense, like, Iron Defense to double down on it is really, really smart. The sad part is, like, a free story of a mon that isn't even that strong, or already 40%. So and Shellside Arm doesn't kill. Special Shellside Arm. Let's see. Typhlosion now. Should Shadow Ball probably? Yeah. And Shadow Ball, because the special defense is low, kills. And I think Scarf Typhlosion is a smart bring here. Because it really lines up well into the team. In general. Now it's sadly sacked to Samurott. But there's little you can do against Samurott with this team anymore at that point. Because Flogger sadly was absolutely hexed. Yeah, here we see something. Now, this is, in general, a good idea to think about. Vikavolt learns Energy Ball. So using your Rapid Spinner that stops it from sticky webbing being weak to one of its best coverage moves is a risk. But it pays off here because Vikavolt reveals that it doesn't have Energy Ball. If it had Energy Ball here, like, this situation would be very scary because you can basically force Sticky Webs to stay up by just Energy Balling here. Because Great Tusk wants to be around for, like, Diggersby. Unless you use Scepters to check Diggersby, which is scary because of Stone Edge. And Fire Punch kills Scissor. And Quick Attack kills Samurott. So you kind of need this Tusk alive and healthy. So Energy Ball would force it out. But here it Rapid Spins. It has Heavy Slam, which I didn't even know it gets. But probably for the Florges, right? If I had to assume. Now at close combat, this never ever kills Bugbears. Yeah, Energy Ball would have killed this, which means you could have like sticky webbed later maybe. Diggersby, quick attack finishes this off. Zapdos, yeah, doesn't Stone Edge. Now if this clicked Heat Wave, or that Toxic misses, so this is a very sad turn. Because Bax can still win the game. We see here why. Because Substitute and Heat Wave doesn't break, T-Bolt doesn't break, Volt Switch doesn't break, so you basically have to like Hurricane. I also revealed Dragon Dance. Even Crit Volt Switch doesn't, right? So here, they should just kill this Samurott to prevent Bullet Punch Scissor from killing the Bax. And this is a 1 position. They got greedy though with the second Dragon Dance. They can never get a sub up again because Zapdos will not have to come in. And it was sadly somewhat of a anticlimactic endgame because Bax was already winning and then the second Dragon Dance lost it. But I think in general the idea of substitute Baxcalibur is really, really nice here in this matchup. Because the best Baxcalibur answer is like, yeah, Zapdos doesn't really answer it. Slowpoke Galar can't really damage it too much behind Veil. And Great Tusk can't come in because of Sword Dance Icicle Crash. Or Dragon Dance Icicle Spears with the loaded die. So, more of an unfortunate ending for Choice Scarf Diggersby, but on the other hand, I think both teams had, again, like, the tech ideas, like Aeran Defense is a really smart tech idea. I think Heavy Slam is a very, very, very smart bring. I'm sorry. Toxic on Zapdos, also really good. Just, like, to prevent specific mons to get out of control. Moves like Toxic, moves like Aeran Defense, like, they shut them down so much. So I think like these sets are like very smart. This Samurott having Ceaseless Edge and getting the spikes off basically won the game in the end. Because spikes helped so much to chip down the team. Let's see. The schedule says, hey look, it's updated. Miami Mimikyus versus Ohio State Darkrai. And look, I can make fun of Aeran for losing 0-1. But he also played another person I know, with being King Darius. And these two, by the way, like, I want to highlight this, right? In the standings, this is the second loss of the Miami Mimikyus, and they're still plus 23. Plymouth Primeapes are plus 26, which is an insane stat line. Like, if you look here, right, like, top is plus 14. This is an insane stat like that. That's crazy to me. And let's see. Darius took over team, so the 2-6 doesn't really speak much volume on the minus 21 because he replaced a player, and Omar could probably tell us who he replaced. I don't know anymore. And yeah, that's like, so this is a huge upset win if you look at the board, but I think it doesn't speak much because these are two of the best players, like easily also like both very, very, very skilled players, very strong, already playing for a long time. And that's not to slide on anyone else. I think with repetition, and if you play Draft League a lot, you will get into more habits of like what is good, what is bad, moveset options. Sometimes you have to be a mad lad in building. That's, for example, why Kaylen did so well so far in most seasons, because he has a lot of experience under his belt. And he's also, because of that, like, right, the repetition of, like, learning, expecting movesets, how to counter things, really shines. And so 2 really good players here. And 2 that I also know. We see here, I think Omastar coming out turn 1 is a bit risky. I guess they wanted to catch the Gligar with Ice Beam. But Medicham could come in first for Fake Out. Shaman can come in, obviously. And Clefable for Stealth Rocks. Which Omastar loses to all 3 of those. Also, like, absolute mad lead play. Not clicking Seed Flare, but Earth Power against Omastar, expecting the swap out. If it stayed in an Ice Beam, that would have been, like, so crazy. See Clefable, dedicated Thunderous answer. Omastar coming in. I assume they trade Stealth Rocks here. Yeah. Oh, that's a Calm Mindset. Now, this is no honor gameplay right here. Calm Mind, Clefable. Oh, that's rough. See, like, these situations. So Moonblast is a really great move, right? We don't have to argue about it. It's one of the best moves for Stab. But this is the danger of it sometimes. Its secondary effect, which is supposed to be good, completely screwed over Clefable's idea here. Because you see, the two times Iron Head, 2 times damage Iron Head, did 68. So the regular would deal 34, roughly. Which means this Clefable wouldn't die in 2 hits and could finish off the Bishop. Or even heal on it, if no flinches are involved. But now it takes a lot of damage and can't finish it off. And you can't really switch into this Bishop because the Iron Head and the knockoff is so threatening. Like, kind of you have to save the Clefable because there's a whole Zygarde in the back. But it basically costs all of Gligar's HP too, just because of a secondary effect, which is kind of unfortunate. You see HP Ice almost guaranteed. This is something we have seen Shield do or Kaylen do last season too. I don't know, one of the 2. Terra Dark, because Dark types are immune to Prankster. Terra Dark has hidden value, which often gets neglected. Because you can just Terra Dark into, like, any Prankster user. And this will probably tidy up. And it wouldn't have been able to outspeed anything if the Prankster Thunderwave hit. But because it Terra Dark, it denies the Thunderwave. And that's a bit better than Electric. Because Electric, there is a Zygarde over here. And the only thing that stops Dark is the Iron Valiant. Which you can outspeed after 2 tidy-ups. And Zygarde you probably just don't kill. Like, this could be physical defensive. I think the slight mistake here is to not tidy up a second time to outspeed Iron Valiant after booster energy. Also, Cinderace can be Scarf. Yeah, and that U-turn is super killing it. Like, in these situations, like, let's see. Let's run the calc just for the fun of it. But if we have a Mousehold and it's Terra Darked, and the opponent was a Thunderous. It's just a Thunderous, right? Not Thunderous T. Yeah, I remember correctly. Let's say it's this set. You see, like, T-Bolt doesn't even KO. So you could have gone up to +2. And this Population Bomb would deal a lot of damage. Now, I wonder, like, let's say Cinderace has Sucker Punch. Let's say it's 62 to 70%. So let's say it did 70%. You had 30. And now we have Cinderace, Choice Scarf with Sucker Punch, which is the only way to outspeed now. Doesn't even KO. So Zygarde would have had to come in, and it's a Zygarde 50%, I assume, which is this one. I mean, whatever said. So this had to be E-Speed to even like finish. And even you see here, if it's no attack invest Zygarde, let's say it's a defensive set spread, you wouldn't even guarantee KO. So this would have to be like an offensive spread. And even then, this Mousehold doesn't have any bulk right now, which we don't know the spreads. So a second tidy up was very possible there. And that would have probably like given potential to end the game. Unless the Thunderous is like Thunder, like Focus Blast and hits it. See T-Spikes from Omar, by the way, which I didn't know it gets. This learns Gunk Shot, so you can't really stay in. Probably protects the Scout anyways. Oh, Iron Head is also a great choice. And because you had to say Gligar earlier, you don't have an answer to this anymore. Like, this is not a real answer. Took so much damage. That looks like a more offensive Zygarde because Shaman doesn't really have the biggest damage pool. HPI is a nice choice. Obviously, pressuring down. HPI also does well into the team because Thunderous and Zygarde are the two best options against Shaman. See, Medicham shouldn't fake out because of weak armor. Is it weak armor? Let's see. Yep. Like, if it faked out, it wouldn't have gotten it down this low. Can now Bullet Punch to finish it off, which is, like, this is another thing why Mega Medicham is so strong. It has 2 priority moves with, like, physical priority move. It also gets Vacuum Wave, but that's useless. It gets 2 priority move with Fake Out and Vacuum Wave, and Bullet Punch. Bullet Punch would have also absolutely blasted Valiant, by the way. And I think you can even save Medicham for that Bullet Punch against Valiant here. Go Clefable. Yeah, I think if he didn't Bullet Punch here, but went Clefable. Yeah. And now Dragapult comes in. This could be Flamethrower, I guess. Oh, it's Will-O-Wisp. That's nasty. Like, yeah, because Cinderace liberoed out of being a fire type, you can burn it, which would have made it useless. We see also, interestingly enough, was hurt by poison. Here is the punishment for not running Magikarp. It's unaware. Probably to prevent Sword Dance Valiant sets. But that causes it to die to the poison now. Slowly but surely. Burn kills. I assume it will protect to get the healing now. There's Iron Head. Iron Head has to... Well, the issue with this is, like, Iron Head can flinch and you don't have Flamethrower. So you don't have a way to KO the Cinderace. Dragapult comes in against the Iron Head. He's up here. I guess you want to Will-O-Wisp. Though T-Wave would probably be better. Because T-Wave would make sure this Dragapult is no longer outsped. Hex probably kills here though. But here's the flinch. And it's like 30%, so it's almost like a Scald Burn, so we shouldn't be mad about these things. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's literally the game we play, right? So, in my opinion, like, the smart things here, like, if we look at it, like, this Terra Dark was really big. Basically punishing the Thunderous. And Iron Valiant running Poison Jab, also really big. The T-Spikes from Omastar made a big difference, and also revealed the Clefable set. And Scarf Cinderace basically clutched up, right? The Iron Head to finish Clefable, to kill Dragapult. It also, with Scarf, forced out Medicham. I think Medicham should have been kept alive, but that's me. We saw Yeah, we saw the Bishop Defiant, which is really big. And if this Clefable had a Flamethrower or Fire Blast, this game could have looked different. But because the teams matched up in a very specific way, I think neither set would have been helpful otherwise. Like, here we have Spirit, and here we have King Darius. Like, if this Clefable is Fire Blast, you really make no progress against Omastar. Cinderace still has Gunk Shot to KO you. Like, you don't know that it's Iron Head. It's also funny, right? We have King Gambit and Bishop matching up. Just noticed. Yeah, Valiant also gets Vacuum Wave. So King Gambit not bringing King Gambit is actually the correct move. Like, Iron Valiant gets Vacuum Wave, can CC and just kill you. Cinderace also absolutely destroys you. Yeah, that's a rough matchup for King Gambit. I've never seen a worse King Gambit matchup. Even Bishop gets like low kick, right? Or low sweep. The move that deals damage for the more you weigh. Probably with hindsight, second tidy up was one of the big plays. And from the Brinks, I think like Volcanion is actually pretty good here because it stops Cinderace from doing whatever it wants. And it also helps big time against Bishop. And it limits Omastar. But in general, it was a very good match. And without the flinch, I think Hex killed. So it really came down to like the absolute last click. Okay, last but not least, and I'm sorry, like Kalamazoo Kingdras and Alabama Arcaniners, if I'm not as sharp anymore in my review. It's 2 in the morning now. I've been recording for nearly 2 hours to get you a more in-depth look. And let's see, it's a 5-0, so this game will probably be quick. Which is one of the things that happens in Draft League, like, very easily. Oh, hello, Momola. We hate the fish. And so far, nothing, like, unexpected or extraordinary, right? You would expect, like, Toxic or Spore. It's very common. Spreading Hazard. Yeah, this Toxic for Zangoose is... This is... If you know that this matchup could come, right? Like this could happen. Let's see, where are the teams? I need to find the team with Zangoose. There's the team with Zangoose. If you see this team, and who was the opponent? It's Alabama Arcaniners. Don't think I can get both on screen well. Nope, I can't. And if you see this team, like you see a Zangoose, probably Spore is the better option. Because Among Us can Spore and then foul play Zangoose and just absolutely kill it. But now you gave a Toxic boost. It could also Sword Dance here. Be greedy. Or Facade outright, like this Urshifu gets killed by Quick Attack now basically. Yeah. This Zangoose is already a massive threat. Intimidate kind of stops it. E-Speed also, nice choice. E-Speed outspeeding Quick Attack and forcing it out because it would die to latest the Toxic damage. Choice Spec's trick, by the way, like, very dirty. This Lantern is basically super crippled now. Iron Head, do we see another flinch? Yeah, we see another flinch. I knew that it would happen as soon as I saw the second Iron Head. I don't know how I knew. I just saw the Iron Head click and I was like, yeah, this will flinch, won't it? This will do no damage though because of the... Oh my god, that's a crit. It shouldn't deal any damage, but it did. Flare Blitz dealing absolute 0. And there's Flip Turn. Yeah, there's nothing extraordinarily going on right now. It's basically what you would expect from their mons. Bleakwind Storm, good choice. Better than Hurricane in most cases. The speed drop really big here. Because this is specs, so this deals a lot of damage. Well, it was tricked specs. Like 24%, that's so much. EQ 55. This Roaring Moon looks like choice band to me, by the way. Oh, Alex is a nice switch in into the protect we knew could happen there. Trace Unburden, where you will never unburden Alakazam. Nice substitute. Citrus Berry. Play Rough breaks up, and now you can attack first with Play Rough. Shouldn't. Oh, it crits. I think it didn't kill without the crit. There's a lot of crits in this game. Like, this game is very RNG heavy. There is a lot. Let's see. Slurpuff. Dude, this Alomomola takes no damage. Sticky Web. I forget that Slurpuff learns Sticky Web, but it's such a nasty move on it because you can focus sash, lead it. Right. This is so annoying. We see Wish. What would be wished? I guess Rotom? Rotom or Zangoose? Yeah, Zangoose comes in, and now it goes back into the Facade City. There's little you can do at this point, right? Like, you have no Facade switch in. Because Arcanine is dead, Slurpuff dies, Lantern, like, everything dies. Like, this Zangoose is such a smart bring. And even the double Intimidate probably doesn't stop it. Like, this Facade will... Oh, it's Ice Punch. Oh my god, that's... See... I never knew it got Ice Punch. I've never seen that on it. I expected it to be Facade, Quick Attack, Knockoff, and Sword Dance, like most are. Ice Punch, and this is basically game. Like, this team is heavily crippled, and one team is like the strongest mons are still alive. Like, I think Arcanine with extreme speed, and Sticky Web, and the Urshifu are the right choices, but they just got super red this time around. That's like genuinely nasty. And Wish keeping Zangoose at full too. Like, that's... Gotta admit, that's tough to beat. That's tough to beat. Like, as soon as you're trapped in it. Like, because this Arcanine can never threaten anything. You basically have to run Toxic to stop Alomomola from coming in. And even then, Alomomola doesn't care too much, right? It can just swap out and get Regenerator healing. Now it toxics you. That's kind of an irony move. The reverse of what I just said would happen. Flip turn, probably going Zangoose, right? Yeah. Because whatever this does, it really can't kill Zangoose. And it heals to full. And now back to it again. Like, Facade, that's... Oh my god. That kills? That's insane. Actually insane. Yeah, and Alomomola finishes the job here. You really can't take damage with it. I think this match was just very rough. I didn't look at the matchup. Yeah. I guess Celesteela could have stopped it. But you would have to read that Zangoose comes in the first place. And it's a 3-pointer. So you don't usually expect these mons. But it highlights how good the bring was. Because, like, Celesteela is such a risky bring. Because Mega Alakazam can steal its ability. You have Rotom Heat abusing it. You have Jirachi, which can T-Bolt on it. Ogerpon also deals a lot of damage to it. So it's such a risky bring. But it was basically mandatory to stop Zangoose. And we saw how dangerous. Like, even a 3-pointer, right? I wanna highlight this because this doesn't happen too often. But this 3-pointer basically destroyed the entire team by itself. And that's really impressive.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Draft League. That you can definitely make lower tier mons or Pokemon that don't really get noticed. You can make them shine.
Yeah, it's really impressive, and yeah, maybe you can enlighten us now that you've. Because I said earlier that Darius took over for someone. Do you know which person he took over? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, he took over for Dolo.
Yeah,
It works.
It works. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I say like these standings. Some people got replaced because the original player didn't want to go on for personal reasons, which is all fine, right? This is a hobby. Remember it, boys and girls. This is not your job or anything you're living. Enjoy it, do your best, and just have fun with it. That's what matters.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I appreciate everyone for joining and showing up every week and giving it their all.
Oh, definitely.
It's been a fun season so far.
I'm so thankful also for being able to do these recaps, like highlighting great tags, sometimes going into depth, sometimes just glossing over the games and seeing like what really went on. Because usually I don't watch every game. And now that I basically get to watch every game, you can really appreciate like the depth some people went to prepare for matchups. And
Yeah.
just gotta respect it.
No, yeah, definitely.
I am a bit confused, by the way, by something I see here. How did that happen? Okay, so we both have 5 wins and 3 losses. So during his loss, he killed 1 less mon. That's kind of funny. Yes, his differential is better, but he has less kills, but I have more deaths. I just realized differentials matter. Like, look at the Div 1 standings. Now, we go into standings real quick. I didn't do it the last times, right? But we have Hades of Ender lost, and it's not updated here yet. But that knocks him out of 2nd to 4th because it's with a -3, it's a differential of 11, which means the top 3 are currently we get still going on.
I thought I updated that.
Hades of Ender still has only 7 matches played.
No, it's updated on my side. So just I guess refresh.
I can refresh. Yeah, I guess I can look up if I refresh this. Oh yeah, it updated. So we see the top 3 right now. Like let's go to like top 5. Just real quick. We see Kaylen on top. I've said it earlier. He's very consistent. Omar can probably sing a song about that. Kaylen is.
Yeah, definitely.
Kaylen is super
He's been cooking.
consistent. And like
yeah,
all
definitely
seasons.
been cooking. So.
I'm glad to be 5-3 and in the top because last season I didn't make playoffs. To be fair, I took over the team of somebody else, but I didn't have the best showing. So showing that I'm not the pushover helps. We see Hades of Ender after the most incredible start of the season. I think 4-0, right? Struggling the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
A bit of bad luck involved. Superiors still has to play this week. Let's see. Like there are a lot of players that didn't play this week yet. Omar having to climb up out of the depths.
Chill. Oh man, I'm just happy I got out of the red.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was.
It's like the first when I remember Omar, it's like Omar. He's always in the top, good player. Now he's 10th place, which shows how strong Division 1 is, by the way.
Yeah. No, seriously, that's usually how it is. But like it's like I said, I was talking to who was it? I forgot who. I think I was. Oh no, I was talking in the chat earlier. I was saying it's a strong league. You know, there's a lot of good players in both divisions. You know, so sure. I'm not letting it beat me up Like you said, I am usually being at the top, but this is no surprise to me. Me struggling a little bit because like we have a lot of good players, so it doesn't mean you're not good. It just means the competition is tough, and I love it.
Yeah, and also the important part is it's also still lighthearted, right? There's no person going around like, oh, I'm so much better than all of you, get fucked. That's an important part of it. Like, good vibes. I think the biggest
Yeah.
surprise, like, genuinely, is like Alicia still has no win because she plays well, but this season I think maybe she doesn't click with her roster, or this season she just is really unfortunate or doesn't have time for the prep. I can't tell, but the roster looks
No,
fine. But
she's really good. She was at the top last season.
yeah, so this is like really
So
surprising.
it's
It's
a
like
little hard to say, but it's like that. That's just how it is when
sometimes
there's that much competition. It's
yeah.
that tough. It's like that. It doesn't take anything away from you. Doesn't mean you're any less of what you are. Any less of a good player. It's just it's that tough, and the game is just like that.
And like at one point I think like if you go like 0 and 3, 0 and 4, you start doubting yourself sometimes maybe. Because this is
Yeah,
really tough.
definitely.
This is really unfortunate. Because she definitely has the potential to be like in the top. It's just a rough. It's
Yeah,
like
she's a champion.
rough seasons happen.
She's won.
Yeah, she has won before. Like, but rough seasons
No, she's
happen.
won the league before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rough seasons happen. We like also like Iwata and Incineroars being down here, right? Even with like some really good wins, like that's rough. And
There's
Alicia can get her
there's
first
no
win.
coach
Good.
and there's no coach in the bottom four that's not good.
Yeah,
Every
definitely.
single coach there is very good, highly skilled.
Yeah.
It's just
So
that's just there has to be someone there. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean these coaches are bad. It just every it just means there's places there, so someone has to be in that place.
yeah, sometimes you have to think about it in like World Cup or Premier League, right? There always has to be the team that loses and doesn't make
Exactly.
it out of group stage, even though they are good, because they didn't get there by being bad. So,
Exactly.
and for Division Two, I think we can tell like Division Two being a more spread it out by like we have players that have a lot of experience and players that are a bit newer to draft leagues. So,
Yeah.
but I think that will even out the longer the longer the league runs, as long as there's a high amount of people retaining, you can basically even out the playing fields for both divisions. And
Yep.
like
Absolutely.
someone like Enigma with the Plymouth Primeapes or Spirit, Mimikyus or Manx Meowstics or the Citizenship, right? Clearly, like would do fine in Division One.
No.
I'm just
Yeah.
pointing out the
Right.
top three
Yeah.
right now. It doesn't take away from anyone
I,
else in
I,
Division Two.
no. Yeah. That's the thing. I feel like we have a lot of really good players, a lot of high skilled players. We have too many Div One players. We just don't have enough spots.
Yeah,
So that's what makes it interesting. We can keep it fresh, and every season, especially after this season, things are gonna, you're gonna see how it's gonna play out. A few drops, a few, people moving up. There's just not enough spots for the amount of good players that we have.
yeah, and like currently, like because I said, like Darius took over a team from somebody else. He basically has a rough time getting to Division One with this. But like, even if he wins 6-0, I think it's impossible technically. Yeah, it is. Uh, but he would definitely also play no long enough to know that he's like he gives everyone of us a run for our money.
Mega. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to look forward to what happens next season. If next season rolls around, like we can look how like maybe someone stops playing, some people drop, some people play Division Two, some people rise up from Division Two, and we will see how it goes. I'm really excited, and we still have 2 weeks left.
Yeah,
And
we had a few drops, but we should be good.
yeah, and I mean we always have new people to fill because yeah, I see
Yeah.
Alicia still has to play, but maybe she grabs her first win here. Like, she definitely still has the capability to it.
Yeah, Victor hit me up. He said he might need some extra time, so that's fine.
Yeah,
they can get that time.
We see Good Days Are Back, which has been on a rise lately.
That's actually a battle that I've been looking forward to. Dwayne actually hit me up as well. He said he might need some extra time, but it's a holiday weekend, so that's fine.
This is also really
that matchup right there. I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All of these last ones are so hype.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The standings are so close, and we have so many good battles left. It's insane. It's been a fun season.
Oh yeah, for sure. I will not go into predictions for week 9 now because this recording is already very long. After I rendered it, I will try to find the timestamps for when we talked about each battle and add them so people can find. Like, I can't add them in the video because I have to be YouTube partner for that, and I'm not big enough. But I can make it as timestamps in the comments or something.
All right.
And I will hope that you all enjoyed the more in-depth look of this. I can't go as in-depth every time because this takes 2 hours and it's only possible because I have a week off. I might be able to do it less in-depth or for less battles. But it was really fun to do. And I think it showed, like, there are so many options where you can make small changes to your team and change the entire outcome of the battle. And most of the choices that the players make, they have the reason for it. So something important to keep in mind is what I think or what I say doesn't mean is always correct. It just means this is what I think could have helped the team in the position. But every player has their unique playstyle. And I prefer offensive teams and punishing the opponent by pressuring them. And sometimes that works out really well, and sometimes it doesn't. And that is the beauty of draft. You can play your team the way you think is best and have success with it, while I would play your team differently and also have success with it. And with that, as a last notion, thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next time. Over and out.
All right. Have a good night.